Hey everybody, welcome back to the flight deck. We are in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island on this late February winter day, and as you can see, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's kind of dark and overcast and very, very snowy. And we have no ground power or anything, so we got to get inside, get this aircraft up and running, because we're on batteries. So let's hop inside, and we'll get the APU going. We gotta get power onto this thing. So we're just gonna let the APU do its thing as it warms up. So this is the next leg on our Cross Canada tour. It's the final leg in the Maritimes. We're gonna be flying to the east to Fredericton, New Brunswick, which is the capital of the provincial maritime province of New Brunswick. And just gonna bring it up here on the thing while we're clicking back and forth. So here you can see we're over here on the island at Charlottetown. It's a straight shot basically over, and then it's an ILS into the runway. Ah, there we go. ILS into the runway, and then we can we'll be landing to the east today, which is the way the weather's showing. It's only about 130 miles roughly between the airports, so it's not a very long flight today at all. So we're gonna head back over here. We'll get the bleeds up, get some air and some heat moving inside the airplane here. There we go, and now we can start getting her set up. So the parking brake is set, chocks have been removed, ground power unit is connected, throttle levers are at idle, engine masters are off, igniter is normal, battery switches are on, generator switches are on, external power is non-existent, we are on APU, and the DIRs will now go on, 1, 2, and 3. And we can come down to the panels. So we're only going up to 20,000 feet today. SimBrief somehow decided 36,000 would be a good idea. We're not even going to get up to 20,000 for that long, so don't know why it would suggest 30,000. Get all these dials up. So today is the 24th of February, and I don't know if anyone's been seeing what some videos are starting to pop up of the CRJ. It looks very, very detailed. There's a real-world CRJ pilot. He's going through a flight. He's doing it complete. So 2 videos have come up so far: the cockpit checks and then the walk around. And it looks very detailed. The next one should be setting up the cockpit, so I think that's where we'll get our first view at how much there is to do in it. Should be good. Alright. So, gears confirmed down, flaps confirmed up, spoilers confirmed, retracted, fuel quantity looks good with the passenger signs on. And cabin crew, you can bring the guests on board when you are ready. So we are once again in the executive colors. We have 24 guests with us today, and I'm sure they will be made very comfortable in the back. Sure, the outside temperature isn't coming up yet, but we'll check the weather in a minute. Oh, there they come. Shouldn't take them long to get on board. So we're going to start. Well, first thing I'm going to do is actually turn on the iPad. And then we're going to go get our flight plan in. There we go. Cost index today of 25. DFD 1. And we'll go do our weather. There we go. And while we're waiting on that, we'll go over here and enter the rest of our information. So zero fuel weight is 44.0 tons.
On behalf of the cabin crew, I'd like to
And
welcome you aboard our flight.
4.2,
As
oh
flight
nope,
crew,
that's not what I
please
want.
place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins and
23.7
smaller items
is
underneath
our
in front of you. If you have trouble
center
finding
of
location
gravity.
for any of your carry-on items, please
And
use
our
the
block
flight
fuel
attendant
is
call button over your seat. Somebody will
4.2.
assist you. If the overhead bin is full, please make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers.
Headwind of
Please double-check
98
that all
since
your
we're up
items
in the
are
northern
away so that
latitudes.
the aisle is clear and other passengers can make their way to their seats. If you're in an emergency exit
And we should
row,
have
please
3.3
leave exit
tons of
seating
fuel aboard. Sounds like
responsibilities
everybody's
in the
now
car
on
and
board.
back in front of you. If you're not able to comply with these actions, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be reseated. You are free to use your portable electronic devices during the boarding process. We ask that larger electronic devices are stowed once we
So we're
depart.
departing runway
Thank you,
28
and welcome
straight
aboard.
out. That's
We are
fine.
ready to go when you are.
And then we are landing on the ILS for runway 09.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 01. Our flight time will be roughly 47 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make
So
sure that all devices are
168
in
miles
airplane mode and your
distance.
large devices are now shut down and stowed.
So if we go take a
Please fasten
look,
your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, prepare cabin for departure.
it has this weird kind of arrival programmed in. So we're going to ignore that. We're going to do our own type of self-vectoring. And I'm going to go enter in the ILS information 111.3. This is the ILS frequency. There is a VOR an NDB near the field. It's 326. So we're going to turn that in for our ADF here. And that'll give us a little bit of distance information. And if we go back to the flight plan, I see what it's doing. It's having us fly over the airport and then do this teardrop. Oh, we could do that. So the airport elevation is 67 feet. The intercept altitude on the ILS is 3,000. So we'll probably fly overhead at 3,000. All right, that'll work. So let's grab the weather. And then we can take a look at that. So 5-knot tailwind, that's fine. There's some light snow in Fredericton. We'll use the ILS. We're good there. Weather here is 220 at 6, 15 miles, scattered 39, overcast at 12,000. It's 1 degree. 2970. So 2970. Low pressure, which tends in North America anyway to mean what's it mean? Bad weather, cloudy weather, stormy weather, changes, not stable. Alright, so that's all entered in. I'll get back out of that mode so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, so we're going to set 20,000 feet for departure. Go back to there, you can go over to there. Alright, So let's go log into the iPad. Alright. So company name. And there we go. And you can see the weather we'll be flying into. We're heading over to Fredericton. You can see on the chart, and it's underneath this storm. So it's going to be a snowy approach. So we'll be aligned in 1 minute. That's fine. The APU's already up. Crew oxygen on. That's armed. We'll be ready to go as soon as that comes up. Fuel pumps coming on. So we're going to start in place, and then we're going to taxi out, and then we got to backtrack on the runways to get ourselves out. So that's now all up and running. All right. So we're going to do our performance data now, and then we will be good to go. So transition level is 1800 via flaps 1, and our trim setting today is 1.1 up, and it's a 7,000 foot runway. We're going to do a toga, so it's 121, 122, and 126. So transponder 2000, which is the generic IFR code. Emergency lights are done. FMC is done. Departure briefing is done. Beacon light is on. Doors are locked. APU is on. APU bleed is on. APU generator is on. Thrust lowers are idle. Engine area is clear. Fuel pumps are on. Ignition selector to 1, and starting engine number 1. Once again, listen to those great engine sounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the front of the aircraft for a safety demonstration. When the seatbelt light is on, please make sure that your seatbelt is fastened low and tight across your lap. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into one another. Tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle. In the event that the seatbelt light is not on, we suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened in case of unexpected turbulence. Please take a few moments to now locate one of the several emergency exits on this aircraft. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. In case of an emergency and we need to evacuate the aircraft, there is lighting on the floor that will guide you towards the exit.
Before we start the engine, we'll get down here so we can hear it. There we go. That's a good view. Engine 1 is good start, starting engine number 2.
If you're traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance,
There we go. Good start on engine number 2. Igniter's off. And the APU bleeds come off. Alright, probe and window heats are on. Altimeters are set and cross-checked. Standby altimeter set. Radios and avionics are set. Autopilot is set. Flight director is coming on both sides. Auto brake set to max. Flaps 1 and flight controls 1.1 up on the trim. And control surfaces: full left, full right, neutral, full forward, full back, neutral, left rudder, right rudder, neutral. Controls are free and correct. That will come off. We're good to taxi, so taxi light comes on. Release the parking brake. And away we go. So we're going to do a hard right. And we're going to be taxiing out onto the runways because there's no taxiways that run all the way out. So we're going to taxi out to that runway, turn left, go up to the 28 or 1028, and then head down to the 28 end. Where we will depart from. Alright, so as we approach the runway, lights will come on. Just gotta watch our speed here. A little bit of hesitation there. Not sure what that was. Sure why that didn't connect the first time. Here's where we're turning. A little slippery on the snow here. Should make for an interesting departure. It's 7,000-foot runway, so we'll be all right. Just gonna have to watch it as we do our departure roll. Can barely make out the center line. Coming out of the end here. armed. TO config. It's good. Let's get everybody seated in the back.
Camera crews for takeoff, please.
So we'll do our turn. It looks like they've plowed parts and haven't plowed others. We'll try to use the entire runway. Alright, spin it around. There we go. Get ourselves nicely aligned. So before takeoff, check. Flight instruments are checked. Engine instruments are checked. Takeoff data is set and entered. Nav equipment is checked. Landing lights are on. Strobes are on. Pitot heat is on. De-icing not required. We may need it as we get a little bit higher. TCAS is on. Transponder is on. Weather radar and PWS is on. Oop, confirm door lock. And we are good. So start the clock. And we are leaving. So engines to 40%. Stable. 5 degrees nose down. Oop, let's just make sure nothing's lit there. No, it's all good. 5 degrees nose down, brakes are released, and throttles to takeoff power. So Mantoga, SRS, and runway is enabled. We have low V1 speed since we're very light, which is good. It's V1 and rotate, so up we go. Positive rate, you're up. 15 degrees for the climb. Throttles to climb D10. Spoilers coming up. Our speed flaps are coming up. Degrees for acceleration. And we're en route. Climb rate to 2,800. Ooh. Keep it as a reasonable climb rate. And off we go. So there's Prince Edward Island. A very beautiful place in the summertime. Late spring, summer, early fall. Some great seafood, wonderful farms and restaurants here. Very scenic island, and a great maritime tradition here. So we're heading to a very short straight, and this is where the bridge is that connects New Brunswick to Prince Edward Island. Interesting fact, it does not cost you anything to cross the bridge over to PEI. It does cost you to leave, either by ferry or by bridge. You're going to pay to get out, which is fine. It's not that bad. I don't believe the bridge is modeled in the sim, but we are going to fly right over where it would be. So that's us passing 10,000 feet. So we're going to start speeding up. Alright, so we'll head back up here. And you can go back to your normal climb mode. 10,000 feet, so the lights will come off. Once you get around in the back, do your thing. Yeah, everything's good. So we're coming into some cloud. So again, 20,000 feet, not very high, not for this airplane, but we don't have far to go. What we are going to do is we are going to start putting our information in for our approach. It's not really going to change in the short time it's going to take us to get there. So 29.71. Temperature is 1 degree. Winds are 210 at 5, and this is an auto record, so it may not be entirely accurate. 1800 is our transition altitude, and 250 feet for the ILS. Runway length is 8,000 feet, so we'll do a auto brakes 1. And we're expecting 3-mile visibility, light snow, and overcast at 1,800 feet. So again, it'll be a nice approach as we come in. Sounds like we've reached our cruising altitude. Well, we're getting there. Going to standard. We're up to the clouds. So we'll begin our descent about 60 miles out from the airport. So I'll leave you with a couple views, and I will see you for the descent and arrival. Back in a minute. Alright, so you can see we're almost 60 miles out, so we're going to do a slow descent down to 3,000 feet. We'll keep it to about 1,200 feet per minute right now. This can go down to 270. I'll just keep a nice gentle descent going. Get everyone seated in the back again. And we'll monitor. We want to be about 1,500 feet when we're 30 miles out. And then we'll adjust at that point. So again, we're going to overfly the airport and then do this teardrop out to intercept the ILS. We can turn on our ADF. We have that tuned in. So we'll see when we start picking that up. Well, you can see it flashing there, and FC is correct, I believe. Yes, it is. So it's just starting to flash there. We're not going to get a range. It's just going to be a direction too. See it kind of flashing there. We're not quite in range yet for it. Through 18,000 feet, and that altimeter setting was 2971. So 2971 is now set on both sides and on the standby. It should go solid at some point. $16,000. So 10,000 by 30 miles. So we're looking for about half the distance down. It's 15. We're gonna have to pick it up a little bit. Take it up to 1,500 feet per minute. We didn't need our anti-ice on the way up. Not sure about on the way down, but as we can, let's get an update on the weather. See, we're kind of edging the area that's a little bit more severe to the south. So it'll be interesting to see. Very short flight today. And we already did our arrival briefing. We're all factored in here, so not a lot to do except get on with it. All right, so we're a little little faster on the descent, so we'll bring her back to 1200 again. So I hope everyone is doing good. We've had some interesting weather here where I am, with cold and snowy, and then rain in the afternoon, and cold and snowy at night, and then like +6 the next day. If I didn't know better, I would say we are heading into spring. However, it's only the end of February in Canada, so we've still got March to get through, and that can be pretty bad. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm going to turn on the train radar just to keep an eye out. Not expecting much. Well, it is hilly in New Brunswick. There's no real big mountains or anything, so shouldn't be too bad. There's that VOR flash. Maybe it's supposed to flash. We'll check it again when we're closer. I would have thought it would have just stayed solid. So 10,000 feet, so we'll bring our speed back to 250. Frequencies are set. Put you back there. It's 9,000 feet. Clouds aren't as thick as they were looking. See through it in patches. Sure is a nicer approach than we did this morning. I'm not sure when the videos will come up and when they'll be uploaded, but this morning we flew with EasyJet and we flew into Gibraltar, and oh my, the winds were high. I think it was gusting up to 36 at one point when we were on our way there, and I think they were down to 32 knots when we got there, but there were high winds. I think there were low 20s straight down the runway. We had to fly around the big rock, and there was turbulence, and wow. There's 5 of us got to the airport. Started with 6, but one guy had an issue. We got to the airport, and we all made it in. But wow, sweating on that one. This is a much nicer approach. Definitely. Alright, so landing system's coming on. Lights are on. Fuel's good, flaps are up, and gear is up. See all the snowy surfaces and the frozen water. Much better to see this than the normal green you get in summertime. That was a little bit strange, but now we got winter textures, which is very nice. And the recent update also improved the clouds, so the clouds are looking excellent as well. You lose the fine, the details where you had it looking very pixelated. Now it's just very fine particles. And apparently they're working on a new particle system, part of which will include high altitude contrails finally for the jets. So that's going to be pretty cool as well.
We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seats underneath. Please complete all Wi-Fi related tasks and stow any larger electronics.
I love that. Your destination. So we're going to go into approach mode now. We're 25 miles from the airport. Still got that flashing. It's very annoying. I'm going to have to see if that's correct or not. I don't think it should be, but we will see. It's a very slow approach here, but we're doing, no, there we go, there's some icing. We are doing 250 knots, so I mean, we're going as fast as we're allowed to down here as we skim the clouds. I'll have a sip of my coffee. Very nice. It's not a heavy cloud layer. It's thinner than I thought it would be. Bring that down to 500 feet per minute. Nice slow descent for the remaining couple thousand feet. Got a little bit of ice build up on her. Not too bad. Alright, so just start to make out the airport, I think, off in the distance through the clouds. Again, we're going to be flying directly overhead and then making that teardrop back in for the approach. We'll see if it actually does it, and then it doesn't get confused. Come up to the deceleration point. airport's just behind these clouds. We're coming up for 3,000 feet. So we're pretty much stable. We're just following the path at the moment. When we hit the airport, we'll slow to 210 knots. You can see how flat the countryside is out this part of New Brunswick. Frozen river down there. Or partially iced up anyway. So there's 3,000 feet. Five miles from the airport, which is you can see it right on the other side of the river, and we're flying towards the runway we'll be landing on, but of course we're coming in the other direction. There we go. So let's see if it switches over to the next waypoint and makes the turn. Are you still flashing? Yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. You should turn. Should be going to the next waypoint, which is Hadri. No, direct Hadri, please. I didn't think that was going to follow it properly. So we're going to take over a bit. We'll force it to do the route it was supposed to do. Wow, look at that landscape. It is cold out there in the dead of winter. So it should have done this loop here and around. So we're going to do the loop on our own. Kind of force the issue, as it were. But we're also going to go into managed mode now. So our speed is going to start to decrease. So seatbelt signs are on, radios are set, speed is established 110 knots, landing lights are on, taxi lights are on, ground spoilers are armed, auto brake set to low. And we're good at the moment. See that wind pushing us here. We got that different angle in where we're headed and the direction we're actually pointing. So we're going to cheat the corner here a little bit. So I am going to go flaps 2 as we hit 10 miles. We're going to go to 240 for a minute. Very nice. Turn north. We'll do the arc right here. That view at the side. See what the passengers see. There we go. $13 miles out. Alright, so we don't need our de-ice anymore. Turn that off. Spoilers are armed. We are at flaps 2. Two and a half miles from the center line, I will activate the approach mode. So luckily the new Aerosoft CRJ has a flight nav system written from the ground up, so it should all actually work properly now. Okay, I'm not sure where you guys are going. It's on too great an angle, I guess. That's fine. Start. We'll go over to 260, which is 30 degrees. Yeah, I got to remember, you got to be within 30 degrees of the path for it to properly pick up. Any more than that, it can cause issues, as we just saw. So now that I'm level, I should be able to do this, and it should accept it fine, like it just has. Glide slope's coming in. We're 9.5 miles out, 3,000 feet. There's the airport ahead. Flaps 2. down, gear down. Let's try this again.
Camera 56.
There we go. Slowly work our way over for the localizer. See the VOR is still flashing there. Six and a half miles. Flaps 3. And flaps full. On localizer on glide slope, 1,100 feet. See the beacons off to our left there. It's 5 miles away from the airport. So, landing gear down and check. 3 green, autopilot as required. Go around altitude set in the FCU. Auto thrust on. Landing memo, no blue. Landing speed is managed. Coming in over the trees.
Above. 300. Minimum.
Landing. How'd you like to live there right off the end of the runway?
200.
Down. Reverse is green. Auto brake on. Hold the center line, wherever that is. Alright, 60 knots. Reverse is off. Now we're going to go up here to where the other runway crosses. That's the terminal building off to our left there. I think we're a little big for this airport. That's fine. So the taxiway is actually somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 11:09 a.m. and it's currently about degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins as items may have shifted during the flight. As this is your final destination, we thank you for flying with us and we hope to see you again.
Pause here for a second. So lights will come off. Strobe lights off. Taxi light will stay on. AP will start. That will come down. Taxi into the gate. We're just going to park up beside the terminal here. turn off the FDs, turn off that. That and that can come off. Weather radar should be off, and you come off as well. We'll just nose up to the edge of the terminal, and that will be us here in Fredericton. Sure, they're all shocked at an airplane this size coming in here, but it's all good. Here we are. Ground power is available, so parking brake is on, thrust levers are at idle, ground connection not established, there's nobody here. Electrical power APU is up. Engines will come off. Parking brake is set. Since we do not have chocks. Exterior lights, beacon off, taxi light off, signs can come off, and everything else is good. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this flight as we cross Canada. After here, we leave the Maritimes and head out towards central Canada, doing Quebec, Ontario, and then out into the prairies. See you next time. Bye for now.